Hi, Kimber.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good.
Thanks for doing this for me.
Thank you for having me.
This is pretty awesome. You are my fifth one, I think, sixth one maybe. So this is still brand new for me. The reason I've been doing this is because I'm trying to get insight to people in our industry, so people can be like, oh, there's more to her than just holes and a moan and tits.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So it's a free-for-all. We kind of just talk. We shoot the shit. We have fun. We play a get-to-know-you thing. And that's it.
Hell yeah.
So, talk to me. How you been?
I've been really good. Things have changed a lot over, I would say, the course of a year. I believe I met you, I would say maybe 3.5 years ago.
Something around 3 years ago.
Something like that. I've been working for King for longer than that, for like 4 years. But things have changed a lot. I feel this industry has almost made me into the person that I am now.
Okay.
And it's almost made me a better person. As awkward or as weird as that might sound, a lot of people are like, oh, sex work. How is sex work going to make you a better person?
Right.
It does, because I see the best and the worst in people.
Right.
All the time. This past year has been a lot of just personal growth for me. Kind of venturing out, not completely quitting porn, because I'd never do that to my fans, but kind of just venturing out and doing my own thing, things that make me happy on the inside and make me feel all warm and fuzzy. I'm getting back into music. I'm doing, more mainstream modeling and more funny stuff because I'm a funny person.
You are.
And I have a boyfriend. Oh. Someone dating a sex worker who isn't in the sex industry.
That was my next question. Is he's not in the industry?
No, he's a normal guy. He's a civilian.
And he's cool?
He's so freaking cool. He's so cool. He's so supportive.
That's awesome.
I've had all kinds of fucking reactions. I've had guys be like, oh, well, if you're going to be with me, then, you can't do this. And I'm like, okay, well, are you going to pay my bills? Or?
And that's the thing, is everybody wants to fuck a porn star until they start fucking a porn star. And then it's like, and there's nothing wrong, because there's always going to be, two people can be attracted to each other. Yeah. Take the porn star out of it, and then you have a different conversation. But when you have two people who are attracted, and this has been touched on a couple of times on this podcast, that suddenly they're like, oh, you're a porn star. It's not like you go into it and they know. So that if they find out you're a porn star first, then it's that achievement, like I gotta fuck her. But if they don't know you're a porn star, and then it comes out, you're like, hey, just so you know, you may or may not find me on the internet if you watch a lot of porn. And then there's either the intimidation to where the guy runs because he's like, I can't hang with this. Or there's well, I want the porn star treatment, which is you need to fuck and suck and do all. But the problem always comes from they can't reciprocate.
No, and also you get the
Not
guys.
Always.
And also you get the guys that are really, really cool with it, and then the insecurity starts to show through. It's all good and gravy until the girl goes, okay, babe, I'm gonna go to work now.
Right.
And they actually have to go to work, and the reality of going to work sets in. And I've seen guys go freaking insane.
Right.
My dude actually knew before, because I didn't think we were going to end up being in a relationship.
Right.
I met him on Tinder, of all fucking places. And I didn't think it was going anywhere, so just off rip, I was like, yeah, I do porn. Because he's like, you look familiar. And I'm like, I do porn.
No one ever believes you.
No.
Because it's a joke. Like you've seen the memes on social media. Because we all have real social medias that aren't our porn personas, just in case you guys are wondering. And on there's that people say I look familiar, I tell them I do porn, and everyone laughs about it until we do it. We had a rental in here a couple of weeks ago. There was a company that came in and they were doing a music video.
Oh, nice.
And one of them on the crew, the people that rented it knew this was a porn studio.
Yeah.
One of the people on the crew looked at me and they're like, you look really familiar. And I was like, I do porn. They're like, that's fucked up. Seriously, what do you do? And I was like, I do porn. And are you fucking with me? And they start looking around like they're looking for cameras. Like, is someone... Because no one believes it.
No, they don't.
And it's like, and if you be honest with them, they're like, wait a minute. And then the next thing I get is, can you get me a job?
Yes. Oh my God.
But nobody wants to clean dildos and wipe up cum.
No. And my least favorite question is, you think you could get me in, or you think I could do porn? Dude, listen. A monkey with a penis can do porn. It's not that porn is difficult.
We don't do animals.
But it's just figure of speech. I'm exaggerating. But anybody can do porn. It's just, don't ask me. We don't want to get you in. We don't want to get you in. We have enough people.
Well, it's not. You know what? I have to disagree with that statement to a certain degree because I don't feel like anyone can do it because you have to, first off, we'll start from the male point of view and then we'll go to the female. And I don't pull my cock out, but as a man, you have to be able to get it up when you're told.
Keep it up.
Not come until you're told, and then come when you're told.
Yeah.
That's your job. And most people are like, oh, I could fuck this hoe, or I could do...
I didn't say do porn well. I just said do porn.
Right. Plenty of people can fuck. Everyone can fuck.
Yeah.
It's the difference between doing it well. And so there's the things that you have to do and be able to have everyone around you, everyone watching, and you not getting to do it for the way... And it not feeling as good as you want because you can't go balls deep because you're performing. So you got to do... I always call it the Elvis shuffle, so you do the twist.
You put that arm behind here, crossover.
Yeah. Or you reach over like this and spread the... nothing's comfortable about it. But then from the female point of view, you can come in here, you can lay down, and you can take dick. You can even fake it enough and put lube on it, and it's not even faking because you do it enough. We
actually do get wet.
Lube, yeah. But to be good at this, you have to maintain your body. You have to know how to do makeup and hair. And don't get me wrong, we know there's plenty of companies who provide all of that. But at the end of the day, it's not just about you having a vagina and putting a dick in a hole. There's so much more to being a legitimate, successful porn person, whether male or female.
There's a performance aspect to it. It's performance, how you take care of yourself, how you carry yourself, how you interact with your fans, which is huge. And girls don't realize enough that your fans are the reason you even have a job. Right. It's the reason you keep your job because a girl can be beautiful and a phenomenal performer, but people won't hire her if she doesn't have a good fan base, if there's not enough social media presence, and if she just treats her fans like plain crap.
Right.
I don't take shit from people, and I do have an attitude, and people will tell me stupid things online, and I'll respond. But one thing is responding to a stupid person and telling them, hey, don't be stupid, and another thing is just treating people blatantly like crap, which I've noticed a lot of girls in this industry tend to do.
It happens a lot because what happens is you take someone who just got here,
yeah.
And they went from someone who worked at, say, we're just going to throw the example out, they worked at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
And all of us got to start somewhere. And then they suddenly figured out a way to get in the industry, and they came in and they blew up. And they went from, Shirley next door to this queen of porn, or at least in her eyes, she went from being no one who had, a couple hundred friends on Facebook that she knew to having 30, 40,000 followers. Mm-hmm. Suddenly she's important. And it's not to say that she's not, but it's how, and no one teaches you how to deal with trolls and shitty people and all the dick pics and all of the guys from wherever they are from. Is it Ghana? Is that where? No, it's not Ghana. Where's it from? There's a thing where they're somewhere across seas. Danny Daniels talks about it a lot. Where her and her husband, to where this is this scam, and I can't remember where. I think it may be Ghana, but I don't know. Anyway, that there's this huge scam, and that's all they do is they go on, they take every picture you have, they copy exactly what you've written as a profile, and they create this secondary profile just to fucking scam people.
Yeah, they do, and it's happened to me more than once. I actually had a fan message me, and I felt so horrible. I had a fan message me on Instagram telling me, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking sue you, bitch, I'm so mad. Da, da, da. This guy sent someone who he thought was Kimber Woods $5,000.
And you're like, why didn't you give me the $5,000?
I know, literally, I'm like, I would have sent you underwear, I would have sent you pictures, I would have sent you videos.
Hell, I might have chatted with you online for a little while.
I would have even done a whole entire video call for like 5 freaking hours if you really wanted for $5,000. Are you kidding me? That's so much money.
Right. And
he got scammed. He got so scammed. He showed me, I'm like, okay, listen, what's the profile? Sent me the profile. I'm like, that's not me.
Danny, that's this, and Danny, every once in a while, did you ever meet Danny Daniels?
I've met Danny Daniels. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful. She's a sweet girl.
She really is.
But I think it's probably every 2 or 3 months she starts, and the video starts, and you can tell it's not her smiling, it's not her flirty, it's not her mischievous, I'm about to get in trouble. It's, listen, goddammit. And she's pissed. She's like, I'm tired of you hitting me up. I'm tired of you bitching at me. I have told you over and over. I tell you like every couple of months, it ain't me. This is my profile. These are the only ones I'm ever going to have. She's smart enough as a businesswoman, like a lot of you girls are, to know This is how I maintain Instagram.
Yep.
This is what I can get away with on Instagram.
Yep.
This is what I better be smart about on Twitter or any of these other social platforms. And she keeps telling him, and they keep the same thing. Fucking you sued me, you bent me over, and it's like, or not sued me, you took my money and you didn't follow. It's not. How did you complain to the person you gave the money to? Why are you now? You know who the real one is. Why are you bitching at me over here where that's where you put your money?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's, and I don't want to sound mean, but it's kind of their fault for sending it in the first place without any actual proof that it's the person you're sending money to.
Right.
You know, I'm a very cautious person. I get hit up, I get emails all the time. Oh, shoot this, shoot that, do this, do that. And I'm always like, okay, what are your references? Can I see some examples? Can we talk on the phone? Can we, there's so many steps you can take to not being catfished that people just, I feel, they feel this excitement of, oh my God, she's talking to me, and I'm getting this attention from this woman that I want attention from.
Even though it's Kimber's, or whatever, it's like they throw in an extra letter and then weird numbers, and people are like, well, that must be the one, and because they have the same pictures and it says the same profile. Maybe the official Kimber Woods
is the real one, and I'm shadow banned, so it doesn't help me.
Right.
Because now you can't find me unless you put the underscore in my name, because Kimber Woods official wasn't available for some reason or another.
Because everyone's taking it. It's the same thing as like when the internet first started happening, and your baby. So you probably had no idea this was going on. But even when I was young when it first started happening, people somewhere, you could call it smart, you could call it asshole.
Buying the websites
they would
and
buy
setting
the
them
URL.
back.
No, what
they
would
do that.
No, not for the girls. They would do it. I'm going to buy Pepsi.com before Pepsi.com knows how to use it. I'm going to buy a Coca-Cola or whatever these huge brands are.
Oh, that's so smart.
And then you own it and you sit on it. And that's the reason to this date, there's certain companies who don't have their name. Some people will pay for them. I'll tell you off camera some of the numbers that I've heard for some of these larger corporations, including the one that we both work with. There's a lot of money. If people who you want it bad, if you bought it and sat on it, because Peter, I can tell you this, Peter Ackworth did not buy. He didn't start out and go, I'm going to buy Kink.com and sit on it.
Yeah.
Kink.com started out as Cybernet Entertainment.
Really? Huh.
And that was what it was. That was the mother company. Like you would go and before, when it was still individual sites, before it became this huge company that it is, it started as Cybernet because that was a cool name in the 90s.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool name in the 90s.
Because I think it started like in 95 or 97, so it's been around for a while. But anyway, they he decided that he wanted to be kink, and this was the price tag. If you want it, you're going to pay for it. And it was just a fucking URL. And we know how much URLs cost because you said yourself you just bought one.
I just bought one.
Some of them vary, but once you bought it and you sat on it, it's a fucking investment. And people will... And they're also, though, so don't get any ideas, fuckers, because there are people who go out and buy kimberwoods.com.
It's already bought, and it's $2,000 for me to buy it back, and I'm not doing it.
That's what I'm saying. People go out and buy it, and there's either models who say, fuck you, I'm not going to buy it. Now you own something and you've maintained it for however long.
Have fun.
Fuck you. Or there's the next thing that happens is where the models are like, that's mine, that's my name, blah, 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 and have done the work to brand it, and they go and sue those motherfuckers, and now they're like, oh, bitch, because now you're going to give it to me for free. And all that money you did was just hold it for me. Yeah,
that's what I'm in the process of now. I'm actually making Kimber Woods an LLC, and I'm trying to copyright it. And the moment I do that, the person who owns kimberwoods.com, you're screwed, man.
Watch it. I recently, people were telling me for years I should, and I kept watching it to see if it was available, and it stayed available forever, but I actually own johnpaulthepope.com.
That is so cool. High five.
I have that. I have the Gmail address. I have the .com.
You're like one of the coolest people I've ever met, I swear to God.
Well, when I first started doing this, I remember going home back to Georgia, and I sit down with my dad, and... This is when the computer monitors are still this deep, before we all started switching over to flat screens and stuff. So it's been a long time.
I remember those.
And I sat down with him and I went to do a search on Google. And I had to dig like 5, 6, maybe 10 pages deep to find anything that had to do with this new guy named the Pope. Mm. Excuse me. And I told him one day, instead of having all of this Catholic shit that pops up first, you're going to get flooded with me. And they're going to have to dig 10 pages back. So I came up with a thing, and it's on most of my social media, that says, Catholicism will hate me one day. I can't guarantee they know me, but I'm pretty sure
they know you exist.
Yeah, because whoever created John Paul the Pope Instagram for the actual Catholic Church had to go with like JP _ the Pope because I own all my social media is John Paul the Pope. One long word. So I kind of took it over.
I mean, I think you should make like your own religion. I really feel like people would follow this religion. I would follow this religion.
I think it would start with get rid of all the religion. That's where it
get rid of all the religion's man-made, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah. Let's talk about, because we talk about this, we'll get into an advice section later to tell anyone that's coming in the industry. Singing. I've heard your voice. I was overly surprised. I'm not going to ask you to sing today because
thank you. My allergies.
But I occasionally am a smartass on set, and I do the now sing for me, whore or bitch or whatever. And I did it, and I remember, and it's probably somewhere on the internet if you look for it on King. Our first shoot we did together, I made you sing "I Feel Pretty," I think. And you started singing, and there's this shot, like I'm walking behind you, and you start singing, and you see me look towards the camera, and my videographer, Mr. Disco himself, looked up at me, and both of us were like, what the fuck? Because usually you're like, sing, bitch, and they're like, oh, and they don't sing that well, and you belted these vocals out, and we were like, holy
I was hanging. I'll never forget. This is one of my favorite moments, and mind you, a lot of times when I go on set, my brain goes into autopilot. So I go into like Kimber Woods mode, I'm in autopilot, and I'm thinking about what I'm doing, but it kind of just goes. Everything I've ever done here, I remember, and my favorite memory is me hanging sideways, my little feet dangling, and you looked at me, you go, you like to sing? And I'm like, yeah. And you go, sing. I go, what? Sing I Feel Pretty. And I sang it, and you stopped, and you looked at me, and then you whacked the crap out of my feet.
I probably did, because now I'm like, now you're just showing off, or some shit.
You did. You looked at me, you're like, continue singing, and every time you would hit me, I feel pretty, and I would just start screaming, and it's one of my favorite moments. I actually think I've shown this, I think I've shown this to my boyfriend, that's how much I like it.
There you go.
I think it's hilarious. If you can't laugh at yourself, then, I mean, come on.
Exactly. Do you plan on pursuing it at any point?
Yes, I've actually tried pursuing things. I've tried pursuing music a few times. It's just the people that I've tried pursuing it with have been a little sketchy, I feel. The music industry is a little bit darker than the porn industry. The porn industry, this is what you're getting into, this is what's going to happen. With music, it's like Pandora's box. You kind of don't know what you're opening, what you're getting into.
And there's probably as many sketchy people in that industry.
Oh my God, yeah. And then the moment they find out I do porn, it's like, well, I mean, I could do this for you. It's like the typical sleazy, I could do this for you, what are you going to do for me?
Yeah.
And I'm the last person who's going to suck a dick to get anywhere. You know, I might have done it on camera. I might be one personality on camera, but off camera and off set, I'm a completely different human being.
Right.
And I don't think anybody realized that, especially the music industry. Just like I had to hide the fact that I did porn, which is another thing I didn't like. I really want to use porn. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me. I really want to use porn as a stepping stone, as a door to get to where I want to get to in mainstream. I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I just need to be given the chance.
I think there used to be a horrible, and there still is, there used to be this stigma that came with being a porn performer that was like, you are a porn performer, and I don't care if you were a director or you were the PA, you worked in the porn industry, so you had no chance.
Absolutely.
At least if you were behind camera, you had a better chance of at least doing a production job, but you still started, you could be the highest level in the porn industry, and they're like, well, you're going to start down here, just like in anything else, and you're going to earn your way back up.
Yeah.
But as a porn performer, specifically a female porn performer, it seems to be was more difficult, and it still is, but there's more and more of the girls who are crossing over, Danny being one who's doing a lot of the stuff she hasn't done an official porn shoot. She's done her own stuff, but as far as like working for anyone else, it's been years. Asa Akira, I think, is another one who, like, she got a crossover award last year or the year before because she did like a voiceover. Skin Diamond, phenomenal singer.
Yes.
Same thing. That's who you should reach out to because I don't know if you ever met her. She's super sweet girl, super chill.
I've met her sister, and her sister's actually my sub.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, she would. I mean, that's the thing is, she'll tell you. I mean, because she rose to a high level of stardom, and it's still been her. She's doing it, and she's doing it well. But she's doing it. It's step by step, and I think that's no matter what. If you want it bad enough, you got to put in the work. You have
Absolutely. That's with any performance industry in general. These industries, they're tough, they're cutthroat, and you have to work at whatever you want. Like, a lot of girls think porn is, oh, I come in, I'm pretty, and I'm gonna get all the jobs. No. Oh my God, no. You could be freaking gorgeous. You can't perform, you're a dead fish, you're done. You're not getting any work. Just like you're not willing to do things, you're not getting work. You wanna put your price all the way up here? That's beautiful. Have your worth. Gorgeous. Right. But just understand you're not gonna get as much work.
Right. Especially when you have someone out here like you who's been doing this for several years, that...
It's going on 6 now.
So there you go. So you have 6 years under your belt. You have learned it, and you know where the rates are, and you know what you can get.
Yeah.
But and I've seen this. I've seen girls, and I see them on an agency, and I call, and I'm like, hey, so-and-so agent, can I have so-and-so for this site? And this is the rate. And they're like, well, that's not her rate. And I was like, well, that's what I'm paying. And they're like, well, she's going to need double that, or whatever the ridiculous number was. And I was like, let me go look. I pick up my phone, and I look, and I go to her Twitter page, and she's got like, if I've got more followers than you do, you don't get to come at me. Well, you can. Respect your value. Respect your worth.
Yep.
But I'm not going to pay it.
No.
And a lot of people won't, because you could put a level. This is a thing, too, and this is going to be touchy for some people to hear. This is the same thing as the minimum wage argument that was happening in California about, in certain cities specifically, not just California, that the $15 minimum wage price. Here's the thing. Our economy's gotten so fucked up, and I'm going to change gears for a minute. Our economy's gotten so fucked up that minimum wage doesn't do what it did when it was created.
No, at all.
But if you own a house, and every house in your neighborhood is a $250,000 house. But in your house, because you have memories, that's where you had your family, and let's say, which she doesn't, let's say you've had children, and you've had your pets, and everything happened, that's $1 million house to you.
Yeah.
That's great. But if every house around you is $250,000, no one's going to pay you $1 million for that house, no matter how much it's worth to you. So, and that's your worth, and you feel strongly about it.
Yep.
The problem is nothing around it's going to work. Nothing around it goes for that price, therefore no one's going to pay you that much money for that unless you find that one very specific needle in a haystack person. And I feel like it's the same thing as the $15 an hour.
Absolutely.
And it sucks because the $15 an hour thing, what it has done is pushed minimum wage, the average minimum wage people out of having jobs at all, because the big corporations like, well, fuck you. So now there's the self-checkout at the grocery store. There's all the kiosk at all the fast food restaurants now that you go in, because those people who stood there for a minimum wage price and took your order and pushed the buttons.
No,
they're not there. They've got a computer that does it, and they've dropped staff. Or you have the mom and pop companies who were barely getting by because of the big box stores, and now they can't afford the $15 an hour thing, so they have to shut their fucking doors.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that people haven't earned it or don't deserve better money in places like that. What I'm saying is, going back to what you said, is there's a certain, you have to know your worth. Not, you know your worth, but you also have to understand the going rate.
Yeah, and there's an average rate, and you know, I've been there. I've been there where I thought, you know, I was the shit, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ask for a much higher rate. And I had to be brought back down to earth, and I had to have, you know, someone look at me and be like, do you want to work? Yeah? Okay, well then you need to lower your rate. Because if a girl who's bigger than you, has more followers than you, and gets more traffic than you, because traffic is huge, how much audience you bring in, hustles harder than you, is asking for less than you, how do you expect to get a job over her?
Yeah, because when I go to social media, what I do is I go find the girl's account. Also, this is, I feel like we're all throwing all kind of like stuff out there for people to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Get your fucking brand, keep it across the board. On every platform, you need to have the same number or same name, and whatever it is. I mean, there's girls that are huge and they don't have anything. Their name's nowhere close to it. Who's one? Adriana Chechik. Mm-hmm. Her main account is Brat Nasty.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with her name, but she's Brat Nasty wherever she goes, and everyone knows it. So there's nothing, and so she's earned it, and she's got it. So starting with having a consistent brand that people know, and then when I go and say, okay, well, I found Kimber Woods.
Yeah.
And I go online, and I see your timeline. If it's flooded with a bunch of memes or a bunch of Fan Central or whatever company that you're promoting all your stuff through, I got another sale, I got another sale, I got another sale. There's nothing that doesn't show me anything about you. It shows me that you're not doing any of your own work because all I'm getting is pushed button advertisement coming from a third party company, which again, get your hustle. But as a director, I need to see you being active on here. I need to see you pushing you. I need to see you pushing the shoots that you've done because it includes you. Because all that does is better your brand, and it makes people as directors, me, I can't speak for all of them, to go, she's hustling and she's going to do for me as hard as I'm going to do for her.
Absolutely. Because
you have, and it's all about branding.
It is, and branding is huge in this industry. And it's okay, there's some girls who come in, make their money, and leave. And that's perfectly fine too. Do it. If that's what you want to do it. It's honestly, it's probably not the best way to make a lot of money because it's going to be on the internet forever, and I can't stress this enough, it's going to be on the internet forever. It's not going away, and everyone's going to find out. Put that in your head right now if you're planning on getting it.
I tell everybody, I think this is touched on every podcast so far, you can't take it back.
You can't take it back. Everyone's going to find out. There's agents that are going to tell you, oh, no one's going to. They're going to find out. It's okay to come in and get quick money, but if you plan on staying in, like I've been doing this for 6 years, and it's very difficult for a young woman to have a career in this for 6 years, it's because I've branded myself. I've made a brand. Everyone knows who Kimber Woods or K Woods is.
Right.
And I've kept that brand, and I've kept it consistent, and I've pushed myself, and I've advertised myself a crap ton, A lot of girls don't really do that. They get really lazy, or they'll just promote themselves smoking weed all the time, which is fine because I do that too. But you have to promote your job. You gotta, cannabis. You gotta promote your job. You gotta promote your job in order for you to get more jobs. If the director sees that you don't put any effort, they're gonna think that you just don't put effort, and then you're not gonna get any work.
Yeah, unfortunately, social media. I mean, I've seen social media be brought up in like divorce cases. Like things you liked on your personal Facebook page have been used against you in the court of law. That's where we're at in society.
Yep.
Social media has become this huge monster that you can either embrace and learn it and turn it into a tool, or you can go and fuck around. And it's the same thing. Yeah, and it'll devour you because it will. Because caring about, we all have to care to a certain degree how many likes we got or how many retweets and all that, because you as a marketing because that's the thing too, is we have to become our own marketing team to a certain degree. And if you don't put the work in, but when your whole life revolves around, I put this one picture up, and if it doesn't get a bunch of likes, then my life's over. And I hate my life, or whatever. So there's a level, and at the same time, though, there's no matter how much anybody says otherwise, you're human, and all of us are. And these fucking trolls write some of the nastiest shit. And for people that are like, it doesn't bother me.
It bothers you to an extent.
It has to.
It bothers everyone.
It doesn't. But that's the thing, is it's like it's one of the tougher things, and we know this because we've seen unfortunate tragedy happen because of fucking trolls. There obviously was probably other things going on, but it's just...
But that was it was the straw that broke the camel's back,
Right.
People don't realize we're humans. And even though we perform, and I've done some crazy fucking shit,
Right.
I've done crazy shit on camera. It doesn't make me any less of a human. And I don't think people realize that a lot of the things that they say, I've cried. Oh my God, I've cried. I've seen other girls cry. Words hurt people. Words, everything that you say creates energy, because energy is constantly flowing around us.
Right.
And that energy spreads. So if you're constantly spreading negativity, that negativity is going to catch on to someone else, and it's going to hurt that person. Now that person's negative, and then it goes on to another person, and another person. It's contagious.
Right.
So instead of being so freaking negative to each other and projecting your self-hatred upon others, just fucking keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Don't fucking say it. It's like what's that? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yep.
Just don't say it. Just don't say it. But people feel the need. It's like they get some sort of... I make a joke out of it. I'm like, oh, do you like angrily jerking off? Because you must.
Right.
Like, I always say to myself, they must be sitting there like, oh, you stupid whore.
It is. They're like the modern day real vampires with their negativity. Like, if they can throw it on you and they can fuck up your day, it turns into a positive for them. And for wherever it comes from, and a lot of us theorize it is because they're miserable, you know, or whatever. And we got all of us have plenty of.
I mean, there are sociopaths out there who just do it to fucking do it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think a legit sociopath might have better shit to do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know better, but other things to do.
But other sociopaths have bigger and better things than to, you know, tell some poor girl to kill herself on the internet.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like I had a great troll story that happened last week. I was in here, and I can't remember the model's name, but it was the first time we had worked together, and her update had just went up on Kink, and it was brutal. Like, one of the scenes was I took a plastic bag and put it over her head.
Oh.
And I held it there, and you could see it.
My face just lit up.
I know, you're all like, tell me more.
Yes, please.
And so it was cool. It was really intense. She was down. It's her thing. She came highly recommended. A lot of the directors like, this is a girl. This is a pain slut.
Yeah.
So her stuff goes up, and Kink promotes it on social media, and someone wrote, disgusting. And she hit back, because you have to be lighthearted about this. You can't take the stuff personal.
No.
She hit back and said something like, by disgusting, you mean fucking awesome. And they were like, no, not at all. And I was like, you motherfucker, I will rip your fucking head off, shit down your throat, and then I'm going to fucking... And I go into all of this stuff, and I remember troll. And I'm having lunch, because we're getting ready to do a shoot. So I read it to Christmas Disco. And he kind of just laughs and shakes his head, because you've been around me when cameras aren't rolling. I got a mouth on me.
Yeah, you do.
And I was like, okay, well, I went back and I did this and I did that. And I finally was like, you know what? Boop. And I deleted everything, and I went to the emojis and the cry laughing.
Yeah.
Not the boo-hoo, but like the laughing.
Like the ha ha ha. Yeah.
I put like 4 or 5 on there and just hit send.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
And the best part was his response came back, and it's like, what's so fucking funny?
Now you pissed him off.
That right there, the fact that you don't get it is what's so funny to me.
Well, you know the scene that we were just talking about where I was hanging sideways that I sang? That position, sometimes when you're tied up in rope, it's not the most visually appealing on the body. You're going to have, you know, belly that hangs or cellulite here or something there.
Bondage is that way for 99% of the bodies. At some point, there's going to be, that's not as attractive as I'd like it to be.
No, but I mean, it felt good. And the guy, I had a fan tell me, what was it? He said something along the lines of, you know, you could have looked a lot prettier. I've seen you look a lot prettier. You just look really ugly here. You should have never put yourself in this position. Yeah. And what I said was, to feel really good, sometimes you got to get a little ugly. And the guy just didn't know how to respond back to it. Yes. You got to take their shit and throw it back at them, but in a way where they're like, what?
I feel like being positive towards trolls is basically, to use the metaphor that I was using, is it's like being positive back towards their negativity is like garlic and sun to a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what to fucking do with it. It shuts them down, and they're like, and then it turns out, well, you're just stupid. Like, it becomes elementary and childish at that point, because they're just mad. And you didn't give them, like, when she came back with, by disgusting you mean fucking awesome, and me just laughing at the person.
He was like, what?
And she liked it. Like, I put it up, and within minutes, because I was like, I want to see how fast this troll moves.
Yeah.
I go back and check, and she had already liked it. So she got it. So all of us, except him, got what we were doing. Because it's like, if I would have been like, you know, you piece of shit, fuck you, you don't understand. Why am I, you don't deserve my energy.
No.
And I'm not an elitist. I'm a pretty chill guy. And I'll sit there and I still, like you, I interact with my fans, like most of us do. And I'm still humbled by a lot of the fan mail that I get from the people that talk to me and tell me, you know, how they've been affected. And I'm sure most of us are that way. So to give me negative stuff, I might get mad. I might get pissed. I might dwell on it for days. But until this moment right now, when this is published and people are watching this, no one's ever, I don't let you, I'm not going to give you the enjoyment of knowing that you've got under my skin.
No.
And even though I'm saying it now, fuck you anyway.
I always revert to my favorite line. If all else fails and I can't be positive and I just tell them, you're the cum shot your mother should have swallowed. That's one of my favorite lines.
I need a pen and paper that sits beside me, so that's good.
You're the cum shot your mother should have swallowed. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you know what, dude? Right. You shouldn't have even been created.
My dad, boy, he had some good ones. Disco loves the stuff that when I say something, he looks at me, he's like, is that one of your dad's? And I'm like, of course it is. But one of the things he used to say was the best, not to me. My dad's an amazing man. My dad's a phenomenal man. And I think he may have done it jokingly, but he never obviously did it like to be hateful. but he would say the best part of you ran down your mama's leg.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I love your dad. I need to meet your dad now.
He's pretty awesome.
We need to be friends because I need more smart ass lines. I consider myself quite the smart ass. I have like a hey girls, when you get eyelash extensions, do you guys get like eye boogies constantly? Because I do, and it bothers me. Fuck this. Fuck. God, the cost of being a girl is ridiculous. But Jesus, what was I saying? I have ADHD, so I'll be saying something, and then like halfway through, my brain goes, and we're done.
Fuck, maybe I have ADHD. That happens to me. I thought it was just because I'm older and partied too much as a kid. Maybe.
I thought mine was because I was a stoner, but I'm not stoned right now because I haven't smoked weed. So I'm like, no, this is just my brain.
To switch gears into that, because you brought it up a couple times now. Is it medical? Is it fun? A little bit of both?
A little bit of both.
You don't mind talking about this?
No, at all, at all. Okay, so I'm so sorry guys, it's so unappealing, but I have to, it's bothering me. So for me, I have really bad anxiety.
Right.
And I have depression, and I have PTSD from a really bad trauma from a past relationship.
Right.
And I started using cannabis first just to fucking get stoned with my friends.
Right.
And then I started realizing when I got into it more medically and I started learning like about terpenes and different things like that, I learned that I could use it for anxiety because I didn't want to take Xanax because I noticed Xanax for my anxiety, I was getting prescribed Xanax, I would feel worse. And if I didn't have it, it was almost like my anxiety attacks would just get worse and worse and worse. And
did you get anxiety from not having Xanax with you because you didn't have the savior?
Yeah. Pretty much. It's like when I don't have my inhaler and I feel like I can't breathe, that feeling gets worse because I don't have my inhaler.
Your chest gets tight for no reason.
Yeah.
Not because you can't breathe, but because you thought about it, which is
because that happened to me at the gym the other day.
Right.
It's all mental. But I started using cannabis for anxiety, and some people will like to argue with me on that and be like, "Oh, it makes me more anxious." You're not smoking the right strain. You need to know what strain you're smoking, what kind of terpenes are in there.
Or you're smoking too much.
Or you're smoking too much. Or you're smoking a sativa, a very strong sativa, which is giving you a mental high. That's what brings the anxiety because your brain is functioning in a very different way.
Right.
So I started using it for that. And then I noticed instead of drinking because I was depressed, I would smoke weed and I would wake up the next day and I wouldn't feel as depressed.
Because you didn't have the residual from the alcohol.
Yep.
I noticed that too. When I go, if I go out and drink too much, I don't wake up the next day and I'm like, I'm so sad. I just wake up and go about my business because I'm at my age, I'm smart enough to know what I can and can't drink and not be horribly hungover, which is this much these days. But when I wake up the next day, I can go on Facebook and suddenly I'm like, that's so cute. What is wrong with me? And then I like see something else. I'm like, fuck this. What the fuck is wrong? So I'm more emotional.
Yeah.
Like if I see like my kid, he may say something, and he always says something super sweet when I'm hungover, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
You're so cute. Yeah, so she's cute.
It's a noticeable difference, and it's not like horrible sadness, but I'm easily triggered, I guess. I'm more sensitive. I'm fragile.
He's fragile. No, I notice in the same way, and CBD, not just smoking cannabis, just to get stoned or to help with that. CBD itself on its own, which is the non-psychoactive part of cannabis for people who don't know, and I'm sure people already know by now. You guys should.
There's no possible way of getting high off of it.
There's no possible way of getting high off of it. There is no mental high. I don't give a shit who you are. If you've had someone, puffing on a CBD stick and they tell you that they're high, they're a fucking liar.
Or there's something in there besides CBD.
Or there's THC in that bitch. But I've used CBD. I tried it to stop. I was having, I guess, a flashback almost.
Okay.
It was really bad. I was watching a movie. It triggered something. I started crying, hyperventilating, freaking out. I was a girl being choked. I couldn't handle it. Don't know why.
Right.
And my friend had CBD drops. And I was like, oh my God, I need Xanax, I need something. And I started crying, freaking out. And he goes, put this under your tongue. I put it under my tongue. I shit you not. 2 minutes later, I looked at him and I'm like, I'm okay.
What the fuck did you just do to me?
What did you just give me? And I didn't feel drowsy. I didn't feel tired. I just felt okay again.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, like, this freaking plant can do so much good for your mental. It can do so much good for mental health. Not just mental health. There's a whole bunch of other uses for it. I know people going through chemotherapy. I think kids who suffer or people who suffer from seizures. It stops seizures very quickly. Seizure medication can be really, really bad for you. There's a whole bunch of other uses for it. I can't really think of them off the top of my head.
The seizure one's one of the more popular ones, and there's one that's based out of, I think, Colorado, and it's called Charlotte's Web.
Yes, and I think that was originally created for like a little boy, wasn't it?
A little girl.
Little girl
named Charlotte.
Oh my goodness.
The story, and I don't remember
Look
exactly.
at me being misinformed.
Yeah. The story was something like she was having, I feel like it was 400 or 500 episodes a day. And the parents are like, the doctors couldn't do, nothing was going on. No one could do anything. Big Pharma couldn't do shit.
Of course they couldn't.
And they found this and they were like, well, this is a last ditch hope, let's try it. And they did it, and apparently this little girl to this day is still living a normal life. Like, it's all gone, and it's because of CBD. Do your research, don't just trust me. It's Charlotte's Web. There was a documentary about this little girl. And then double check the stuff in there. But it's not Big Pharma. The rumor that I heard was that they took that and turned it into a class 1 narcotic?
Yeah.
Is that the right term, class 1?
I believe so.
Which basically puts it up there with like some of the worst narcotics in
like
the world.
heroin and crazy shit like that, which to me is insane.
But they say the reason it happened was because they couldn't get a grab on it. Because Big Pharma couldn't touch it. Big Pharma couldn't
They can't control it.
Right. Therefore, and this is, do your research. Don't just listen to me or us.
No, absolutely. I know a lot of things, but like I said, my brain jumps from thing to thing. So some things I might say will be completely factual. Some things will be, factual with a little bit of what I can gather from my, last 2 brain cells kind of fighting each other in there. I did karate for a long time. I got kicked in the head a lot, so...
I actually had some questions.
Oh, for sure.
I came up with some fun little ideas. They're very basic things. Let me put my...
That's a basic.
It's kind of fun. So we can kind of talk. Let me make sure that I'm not in your shot. Where did they go? Because these were fun. I was talking... you know what? Let's start with the good old... Because we've been kind of very on the industry right now. Mm-hmm. What got you into porn? What started this journey for you? Okay,
so my ex-boyfriend, the crazy one, he was the one who got me into porn.
Okay.
I met him. I was so innocent. Oh my god. Jesus. So I was super fucking innocent. I met this guy, and he was doing porn, and I was okay with it. And then he was like, you know what? You're really hot and you're really good at fucking. You should do porn. And I was like, no, because I was teaching special kids martial arts at the time, and I was raising my sister. I was like a real goody two shoes, and it took him 2 years of convincing, and finally I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm tired of you asking me, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And I did it, and I don't know what happened to me that day. It's like a part of my brain just went yes, and I was really good at it, and I stayed doing it.
Right.
And I never stopped. I never wanted to stop. Right. It was almost like a high for me. Like I got to live out all of these fantasies in a controlled, safe environment.
Right.
With people who are tested, and I don't think people understand that part either. And it was just like, I feel like porn for me it's had its negative times, but it's been so positive. It's been so positive, and I'm very thankful. Crazy X, if you're watching this, thank you for getting me into porn, because you honestly helped me give a better life to myself. So, hell yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like and we were talking about this before we started this, was that as long as you do this for you,
yes,
and because you enjoy it,
yes,
and then as soon as you decide that you're done, you need to be done.
Yeah.
If you are still doing this, or anything for that matter, that you wake up in a bad mood, you hate yourself because of it, you beat yourself up afterwards, you have to come home and...
You go home crying?
Whether it's you go home crying, or you go home sad, or you go home mad, or you go home and have to self-medicate with anything, not because hey, it's a holiday and I'm going to have some drinks, or my friends are coming over and I'm going to have some extra wine, or, you know what, it's Saturday and I want to get stoned and watch a movie. If you're doing it for those reasons, fine, but if you have to self-medicate to cover up why... maybe it's time to look for something else. And I know not everybody can just jump around, but it's that leap of faith, to be cheesy, to say this is no longer what I need in my life because it's fucking hurting me.
Yeah.
You have to find something else. You have to open one, and by opening one, you have to shut this one. And
yeah,
it's hard. It's tough.
It
mean,
is.
when I did this, to interrupt you, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was dating someone, and I got a job offer, and I was living in the middle of nowhere. I'm from the South, and then we had moved, which I didn't think you could get deeper than where I was. And I was living in this little town that's the sock capital of the world. It's in Alabama. It's all these sock factories.
The sock capital of the world.
Yeah, that was their claim to fame. It was a dry county, too.
Oh, no.
And anybody that knows me knows I like to drink.
Yeah.
And the country band Alabama, that's where they're from.
Boy.
It's a little bitty town.
A little.
And I got an offer that meant I was going to leave here and I was going to go all the way to San Francisco. But when I left, I had a duffel bag and a book of CDs and a carry-on suitcase. And that's what I left the South with. But it was that leap of faith going, I got to try something else because this isn't working anymore. Yep. And got out and was roommates with the guy who hired me, and I was roommates. I started working under him. I kind of apprenticed under him. I learned under him. I learned a lot. Like I was already a photographer, and I knew Photoshop. I started learning video editing. I got better with my bondage. I knew lights, but I started learning point the camera can't see. But so I learned. I came up doing this, but if I would have not taken that leap, who the fuck knows where I'd be? I wouldn't be sitting here.
No, exactly, and you're so freaking awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But also, and what to get into what you were saying about taking that leap of faith, especially when it comes to sex work. If you do not like what you're doing, sex work can be very traumatic because you are using your body. You are letting people enter you. You are having an energetic exchange with other people, and that could be very mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally draining if you do not like what you're doing. If you don't get any type of empowerment from what you're doing, especially when it comes to sex work, do not do it. I know you might need money. I know you might do something else. Do something else, because all you're going to do is hurt yourself. Not anyone else, just you, and you're going to hurt your mind. You're going to fuck your brain up. You really are. You're going to fuck your mental state up.
At the end of the day, we as individuals care and worry about each other, especially when we've worked together and we know each other.
Yeah.
And there's even people in this industry who I've barely met or didn't meet at all, and it still bugs me because of certain situations. But at the end of the day, the industry as a whole, and it's not just the porn industry, it's the tech industry, it's the movie industry, it's the music industry. At the end of the day, if you go away like that, none of them care.
No, let's take it on.
They all put on the face, they all send out thoughts and prayers, but then you're replaced. There's another one sitting in line, waiting in the shadows. Well, bring her up and let's get her in Kimber's place, or bring him up and let's...
Oh yeah, where there's me, there's 1,000 other girls waiting for my spot.
And that's the same way with, like I said, music, tech.
With
at the end of the day, God forbid, someone gets sick in our industry. And luckily, there hasn't been a transmission on set in a really long time.
No.
But when there's even the moratoriums...
it's scary.
It's super scary.
It's scary.
And people bitch. And I as soon as I find out moratorium, I go online and I remind everyone, let's be nice. This is someone's life. Shut the fuck up.
Imagine being the one to get that TTS.
Yeah.
We've all gotten the TTS emails. And you get the please call us to view your results, and that's what you find out? Oh my God, you can't imagine what that person's going through mentally, so we have to be nice, we have to be courteous to each other. We're humans with feelings.
Yeah. But like I said, the industries, none of them, they don't care.
No, they don't give a fuck.
I mean, unless it's costing them money.
They don't care.
But that's a certain company. That's not the industry. And it's repeated. Like, I know a guy who recently decided that he was going to charge extra to be asked to fuck anally. So if he's a straight performer, but if you want him to perform anal to fuck some girl in the ass, you're going to pay him extra. Because he doesn't like doing anal. He doesn't care for it, but he believes that he has a higher amount, and I haven't done the research to this, that he has a higher chance of contracting HIV through shit than he does through vaginal secretions. Be it what it may, that's what he's decided to do. So he now says, if you're going to want me to do that, you're going to pay me extra to do that. Because the models, and I get the girls are different because you have to go through more. You have to prep yourself. You have to starve yourself. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
There's a whole preparation. It's like 2 days of preparation for that.
But he was the one who came to me. And you know what? It's his decision. And I got his back because it's his body. Right. But he was, when he said it, he was like, do you think I'm crazy? And I was like, dude, you do you. You got to do what makes you happy and what makes you feel safe. And he was the one who said to me, he was like, because when this, if God forbid it happens and I contract something, they don't give a fuck about me.
No.
My agent drops me, the industry stops booking me, I am now poor until I find something to replace this income. And there is no, oh, let's go call back and check on him, or let's call back and check on her.
No one gives a shit.
No, you're done. You better hope your family's around, and you better hope you got enough money in the bank. And it's a scary situation. And I know people are probably going to be like, well, that's in any case. It is. But because we deal in sex work, there's a higher chance of us, and it's almost hazard pay, if you will.
It really is. I know a lot of girls who don't do anal cream pies. I personally don't do those. You know why? Because you could get sick a lot quicker. You could just get sick. You have a higher chance of getting sick, that. And personally, I don't do anything on camera that I don't like in real life.
Right. I think that's the way a lot of
people are.
If I'm not
into it, I'm not going to do it. And I'd rather someone come in my vagina and not in my butthole. I don't know what I can say because it's YouTube, but I'd rather the other hole because it feels nice.
Front one.
I like my front bottom and not my back bottom.
That's good. I like that.
I heard someone call it a front bottom, and ever since then I'm like, front bottom. I like this. I like this
I've
word.
heard it from the front. I'm looking at it. I've also heard it called a front butt because there's the little,
a front butt. Some girls do have front butts because they got the little fat with with the no lippies.
The no lippies.
The no lippies.
I like when your accent comes out. Let's see. What, in any aspect of your life, what would you say is a thing or a person that you think has influenced you positively, in a positive manner? Who would you say is a bigger influence, whether it's your singing or your cooking or your home life?
Who's the biggest influence on me?
Yeah.
It's gonna sound so corny, but my mother. My mother is my best. I literally almost got choked up talking about her. She is my best friend. My mom is my ride or die. That woman, she had me at 16. It was just me and her because my dad, typical porn star with daddy issues, but my dad, was a poopy butthole. And Mr. Poopy Butthole, which is a Rick and Morty character, and he's an awesome one, but he was a poop head and he just wasn't there a lot. We had a lot of money, he gave us a lot of money, but he wasn't there, so it was just me and my mom.
Right.
And that woman did anything she could to make me happy. Anything she could to give me the life that I deserved. Anything she could to make me a better person.
Right.
And oh my God.
I say, don't cry, I don't have tissue around.
And I'm so appreciative for her. She's been such a positive influence on my life. I don't know what I would do without that woman.
She knows what you do.
Oh my God, yeah. And she's so supportive. She has my Hustler magazine framed.
That's fucking legit, man.
Dude, she's my best friend. Sometimes I share too much information with her.
But that's cool. I was that way with my mom. My mom passed years ago. But I was that way as a kid too. Or as a kid. I say kid. When I say kid, it means under 30. It doesn't mean teenager. So I was the same way. I would sit there and there were times after I'd say it, I'm like, fuck, that's my mom. I probably shouldn't have said that much. I should have told her. Because it's but when you have the relationship like that with them, you do. They're like your best friend and you're like, oh fuck, all right, maybe that might have been the one that was too much.
Well, yeah, okay, so I've done gangbangs, right? And I've called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm so fucking sore. And she's like, honey, I bet you are. Can we not talk about it? And I'm like, I need someone to talk to, okay?
Someone needs to know the pain.
Someone needs to know the pain. Mind you, don't get it twisted. I've loved every single gangbang I've done. I've never been mistreated. And yes, I'm sore, but it's because I chose to be sore. So let's get that clear. There's nothing being done to me that I don't want to be done to me.
Well, the cool thing about this channel too is people who have subscribed are big fans of.
Okay, good.
So that and if trolls show up, I just whatever. I'll do my best to handle them. But I also don't really. the smiley faces. I don't fucking whatever.
I also realize it's the internet and people take things literally.
Some people get worried. Yes, she's safe. We got it.
I'm so safe.
We did there was a model when I used to run the upper floor, and I've told you the stories of how we had the cameras, and I had the girls who were the 24/7.
Yeah, the ones that were like actual like live-in slaves.
Right. There was one, her name was Sparky Sinclair, and she was this sweet little baby angel. And she had like "We the People" tattooed across her chest. Like she was one of my alt girls that were up there. And she had someone who in real life she was totally in love with, and she wanted to do a wedding. But they didn't have the right ID, so they couldn't even be in the room. So it was because of the laws that we have to dictate what we do.
Absolutely.
So we put her somewhere, and as long as she wasn't naked and in the room, we could have her image there. So we had a screen of her there, and we did this little faux ceremony for the porn thing. But then to celebrate and commemorate her wedding, and she called her mom. Her mom showed up to the shoot. And this is the debauchery that is happening.
Holy shit.
And because anybody that doesn't know, the upper floor, there's lots of dirty,
it's so
good
awesome.
stuff. But once we're like, we now pronounce you man and wife, ta-da! We had 3 or 4 boys there that gangbanged her while her mother was in the room. Her mother, the best part was her mother was like, okay, well, I don't need to see that happening to my daughter, and turned around and found a little sub boy and was spanking his butt and playing with him. And her mom looked like fucking Mrs. Claus. It was the best, one of the best.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was phenomenal. And her mom was super sweet, and because I didn't catch her mom, I saw her talking, but apparently as it went on, we found out later that she totally found out that he liked to be spanked, so she threw him over that knee and spanked his little butt.
She was living out her own fantasy.
It was super, so I understand the having the mom best friend thing, because it was weird, because I was like, is this weird that your mom's over there? She's like, she's not watching.
No, my mom honestly knows about all my hostcapades. My hostcapades. My mom knows. My mom's been there for the lowest lows, the highest highs, and my mom, she's me. She's literally as bubbly and she's just taller with big boobs. She's just the older version of me.
I need to meet your mom.
And she's hot. She's hot.
Because I bet your mom's probably closer to my age than you are.
She's 42.
I'm older than your mom.
Oh!
How dirty is that?
Well, my mom knows that I've had sex with people, because I used to be a swinger. I used to be a unicorn. Okay. So I've had sex with people way older than my mom. Okay. Jody West and Jay West, you know the couple?
The Jay West sounds
They're my porn parents. They're married. They're my porn parents.
Okay.
And I love them, and my mom knows who they are. And my mom has met them, and my mom has actually told Jody, thank you for treating my daughter so good. Because that's all my mom wants. My mom, when she found out I did porn, she obviously had the typical Latina mom reaction. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Crazy shit.
I'm gonna make you speak
but
like next time we work together. Say it in Spanish.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
Is it Spanish?
Yeah, Spanish.
Okay,
Spanish was actually my first language. You wouldn't know because I dated a white guy for so long that I didn't really speak Spanish around him. But she was like, ¿qué estás haciendo? Everyone's gonna see it, your family. And most of my family still doesn't know till this day because they're very judgmental. Right. But she's always been very encouraging. And I remember she called me back an hour later. She's like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. She calls me an hour later.
Okay, I got one more thing to say.
She goes, let me ask you something. And I go, what, mommy? Are you happy? I go, yeah. Is there food in your belly? Yeah. Is there a roof over your head? Yeah. Can you look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day? I'm like, yeah, I'm cute.
Right. Of course I can.
Of course I can. And she goes, you know what? So be it. Do it. I support you.
And that's the thing. I feel like it's a hard thing for a parent, because when you all anybody wants as a parent for their child is for them to be the best at whatever it is they do. And then when you're like, okay, in my head, my little girl Kimber is going to be this lawyer or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you're
she
like,
thought
hey,
I was going to be a doctor.
Okay, so there's she's going to be a doctor, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm doing porn, and what? Fuck you. And then you sit there and think, and you're like, that's my baby. Mm-hmm. And then there's are you happy? Do you have a roof? Is anybody making you go through the questions of, are you okay? Mm. And if you're happy, I got you. And that doesn't always happen, though. There's a lot of parents that don't play that game.
I've lived in and out of model houses, because living in California is very, very expensive. I've been in and out of model houses. And I would see girls crying and wanting to kill themselves because their parents just wouldn't talk to them anymore. I've seen girls, develop drug habits and stuff because their parents refuse to speak to them and it's always because of religion. It's always because of what they believe in. Look, my mom's Catholic. I was baptized Catholic.
And that's not even this industry. That's
anything. That's just anything.
You don't do what you. So there's some parents that are strict enough that you don't do what they ask you. Then I'm disowning you.
Oh yeah, like I know girls who do mainstream modeling, fully clothed, then their parents won't talk to them because they didn't become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever shit. When I was growing up, I remember I really wanted to sing. And my mom told me that's not a real job because she wanted to save me from having to struggle. That's all it was.
Right.
She just didn't want me to struggle. And I think that's what a lot of parents, they have good intentions. They just don't want to see their kids struggle. They want to see their kids have what they think is a real job. But in reality, what really is a real job?
Happiness. Happiness and success, I think, is what the reality, or what real is to me. And if you work at a fast food joint, and you've got a roof over your head, and you got food on the table, and you go home to a loving home, fuck, you're doing better than most of us.
Yeah.
And there's people out there, I read an article the other day, it doesn't matter where it came from, and I think it was about Steve Jobs, the Apple guy, and he was lying on his deathbed, and he was, and you see this kind of shit all over social media, this positive stuff, and he was like, all of the money, and I forget what his worth was, it was billions, was his net worth when he died, and he said there were so many things that he would have rather done than earn all of that money. And it sucks because he wasn't an old guy. No. But it's that situation where it's like you make certain decisions and you go certain ways, but fuck, all the money in the world's not gonna make you happy. And that's a big thing. So it's like you going back to what you said about the parent thing, like you have to be, I agree with this, but you're happy and you're safe.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's all you can really ask for as a human.
And still, because, we are Cuban, so my mom is still going to be my mom, and her hopes and her dreams are, I find a nice man, I marry him, I stop doing porn,
well,
I have
kids. I feel like you may or may not be going in that direction, so mommy might be getting what she wants.
Mom is kind of getting what she wants. When she found out I had a boyfriend, she was like, well, no, she's still traumatized from a last relationship, so she still... the first thing she said was, is he nice to you? And I'm like, oh my God, Mom, I think he's scared of me.
That's not a bad thing either.
I don't think I scare him. I think he's just never, ever in his life encountered anyone like me. Because I've been so blatantly and disgustingly honest. Because I don't want to lie. I don't want to fight. I don't have the energy to argue with someone anymore.
It's hard, man.
I don't want to. I don't want listen, if I did something on set, I come home and I tell them in detail. Like, oh, you want to hear it? Cool. Here's exactly what I did.
Right.
I'm not hiding anything from you.
I think that's the thing, too, is because people who have met me and the wife, they are like, oh my God, you guys are so cute. And
here's adorable.
But the thing that I tell a lot of people is because we hear, like, our kid comes home and he's telling us, like, well, my friend over here's parents are getting divorced, and my friend over here's parents are getting divorced, and all these divorces are, and so we've had to have this talk with him. And we tell people, because her and I are intense, and I said this recently to someone, I think her intensity came from being with me as long as she has, because she started sweet. You
can see there's something in her.
She told me when we first started dating, she's like, you may not want to do this because I'm a bitch. I'm like, you're a bitch.
I love her.
But when we started, she was she'd come out of a relationship, and we had a mutual friend, and was like, hey, can you be the one that's not trying to fuck her right now?
Yeah, you've told me this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got shoved into the friend zone, and so there was never this, yo girl, what's up? There was never any of that shit. There was this, we're hanging out, we're going to the bar, hey, you want to come hang out with me at the bar tonight? I'm going to go see so-and-so, and she'd be like, sure, yeah, because we were just buddies. And we go to the bar, and the guys were always like, tell us about the porn. And I'm like, oh, I had this rough day. Shut up. Tell us about the porn. So she would hear all of the things about the dirty stuff that I did and the dirty stuff that I was going to do or had all of this. So there was never sugarcoating. There was never any bullshit. There was never any deception. She inadvertently fell in love with 100% me because I never faked it in front of her because I wasn't ever going to fuck her.
My heart went...
It's gross. But, yeah.
That's how I feel about my relationship right now.
Yeah, but and I feel like I think that's the only reason that it happened the way it happened was because, and plus, people don't know this, I'm really shy. Like when the cameras
Oh
aren't
no,
on.
I know. The first time I met you that I fangirled, you were like, I wasn't expecting you to be the way you were.
I know everybody's like, JP's this guy, and he's this, because and I think it comes through, but people don't realize how big I am. Like, I'm a big motherfucker.
You're a big dude.
And I've just come to terms with it recently, because I'm just like, I'll just stay over here and not take up any room, and I'm starting to realize, like, I'm just a big fucking person walking around. Especially when I'm on planes.
Oh, yeah, we're flying to Hawaii in December, and he's 6'4", and I feel he's as big as you are. And I feel bad for him, because I'm tiny. I'm 5'2". I fit anywhere.
I will give him credit. I saw a picture. He's a little better shape than I am.
Only a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Just by, like, a little bit.
And by meaning that I have a dad bod and he does not. That little feature. I like that term, though. I like the term dad bod because I can get away with not
I prefer
being
father figure.
Father figure. That sounds even dirtier. I've got a meme that I put on my social media, and it was, I'll have to look it up afterwards and show you, but it's something that plays like the girls sitting in the confessional booth, and she says something like, ooh, daddy, blah, 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 and he's like, if I have to tell you one more time, it's father, I have, like, it's like, because he's on one side. I'll have to look it up and show you later. It's pretty funny.
I like that one. I like that a lot.
That's my thing. That's where I try and push the boundaries a little bit, is on my Instagram. I try and kind of put things up that piss people off. I put positive stuff up too, but every time I try and put porn up, it gets kicked off.
Oh yeah, because people are reporting you.
And the funny thing is, people get mad. They're like, oh, why are you following me if you're going to keep reporting me? I think that there's fewer people that follow people just to report them as it is that there's people who aren't supposed to be fucking looking at our shit.
And then their parents catch them and report us. You know how I know this? I've gotten a few actually messages from concerned parents on my Instagram, and I'm just like, then do your
job as a fucking parent.
Get your little kid and, I don't know, put parental blocks. Maybe they shouldn't have a freaking Instagram. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And we can only do so much. I mean, at my other company, the one that I moved out of the South for, it was a very small company compared to King. We didn't have these admins and this IT and this marketing and the HR. There was like 6 or 7 of us at most, ever.
Yeah.
And I was second in command, so to speak, as far as like there was the owner who ran shit. It was his company, and I was his like number one guy. So I fielded, and we had like, you know, the email correspondence, and there was a couple of times that people hit us and were like, hey, I need to talk to you about doing a refund, blah, blah, blah. And there was one that, and I don't remember, and I don't want to talk out of school, but I feel like it was, their credit card had been charged for like 3 or 4 months on a monthly basis before they realized that they were being charged for porn because their child... And instantly we stop it, we shut it down, and you can only do so much.
It's pretty funny, I'm sorry.
It's fucked up though, that like
up.
as a parent, like how did they get your credit card? And how did you not look at the bill every month and how much?
I realize.
I mean, I know people make a lot of money, and there's people who sometimes don't pay attention to shit like that, but I feel, to me, I think $25-$35 a month is $25 or $35 a month.
It is. It really is.
That's like a nice breakfast somewhere.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't even pay for my own Netflix, so...
That's not what she said. She means she does...
It's my mom's.
Fuckers. We're just playing.
It's my mommy's, but I do pay for Hulu, and I pay for Amazon Prime.
Nice, I think it... That stuff that's probably one of the worst things of all of the things that have been put on this earth of ours to corrupt us and make us spend money and do dumb things.
It's terrible. Listen,
it's
Amazon.
The convenience of having Prime.
Amazon is bad, and here's why. Sometimes I drink, and sometimes when I drink, I like to go to the sale department on Amazon Prime, and sometimes I've ordered $3 light-up elephants, about 10 of them.
Deals
and
of
I
the
didn't
day.
remember buying light-up elephants, and then I got a box of just light-up elephants.
You know you're not alone in this. There's a whole phenomena that's going on right now in our society where it should be considered a sport at this point.
It really should.
Drinking and Amazon needs to put something on there. There used to be, back in the day, was it a text message? No, it was emailing. Back before text was as big as it is now. To email, which we used to do all the time.
Confirmation.
You had to Google, I think it was you could click a thing, go into your settings and click a thing, and it was basically drunk test. So before you started all of this when you were drunk, you had to answer several math questions, and if you couldn't answer the math questions, you couldn't send a fucking email.
Oh no.
And I don't know if there's apps. I have to. There's an app for everything now, but I don't know if there's not. Someone needs to create it, because there's times that I even woke up the next day and I'm like, oh fuck, why the fuck did I text them? And why did I? Or worse, trolls. And I don't have the control. And I wake up the next morning and
Shit.
people. I've put memes up when I had a buzz, and people were like, you know what, JP, this may have crossed the line.
Do you have a name for your drunk persona? Because I'm Brittany when I'm drunk. I just go full Brittany.
I don't see. Here's the thing. I don't get drunk like. Brr.
No, I don't get drunk like that either. But I get tipsy, and when I get tipsy, I get a little more confident, and I call her Brittany.
No, I don't have her. I think that my wife's probably named that person, and it's shut the fuck up. Oh. That's what I hear the most when I have the buzz is shut the fuck up.
No, Brittany likes to eat Taco Bell.
Let me interrupt you. So Brittany and I should hang out.
I love Taco Bell regardless.
I haven't eaten Taco Bell in such a long time. I try and keep fast food away. I occasionally get it if I'm really hungover because I was stupid and I went somewhere and they didn't have the few things that I could drink. I'm just like, bring it to me. And you know when that headache starts to hit while you're still drinking?
Oh, yeah, you need
So
food.
the next day I need something that's horrible.
Yeah, you need like a burger or something greasy.
So I went, that's usually my go-to. But I can't believe I'm admitting this on the internet. A month or so ago, we couldn't decide on what we wanted, and we had our usual little places that we like to go to. I'm like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go here. I don't want to go here. And as we were riding by, we both looked at each other and were like, fuck it. You want to do it? And we were like, let's go to Taco Bell.
Hell yeah.
We go through the drive-thru. For starters, why in the fuck do you need a drink that's this big around? It's like a fucking 40-ounce thing
Because
for
Baja
soda.
Blast is awesome.
Okay, well, there's my answer. Not me. I like the water.
I always get a Baja Blast, like, without fail. The Pepsi tastes really good there, too, because they have, like, the thing with
That's
Pepsi,
your
so they get the
carbonation.
special syrup.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So we get it. We go through, and as we're going through, and I remember being in my 20s, so this is how long ago it's been since I've been to Taco Bell. 20 years. And I probably 15 to 20 years. 20, yeah, we'll say 20. And I get in line, and I see the advertisements, and it never really registered because I don't go there anymore. And I'm not saying I'm too good for it, I just don't. And I look up, and there's, because we do soft shells at home, and I'm not from, but I spend a lot of time in Southern California, and even out here in Vegas, like, legit fucking tacos.
Street tacos are so good.
But I was like, you know what? I like the hard shell. I used to love the hard shell as a kid. And I look up, and they have a fucking Dorito shell.
Yeah, the spicy one is my favorite.
Bitch, please. Now I'm like, instead of like, ooh, we gotta hide this from the kids, or don't let our other friends, like the secret, like it's almost like a drug addiction. It's like, you wanna go to Taco Bell?
You want to get a Doritos Locos Taco? That's what they're called.
So
I
that's
get the fiery.
That's I when they asked me for sauce, I was like, because I was like, I'm such a hot sauce slut. Like
Two.
if it took up space, it's like the double door refrigerator. My top drawer, top bin that sticks out is like you can't. Like
I put hot sauce on 90% of my food.
Yeah.
And I get made fun of for it all the time because my best friend cooks.
I have the economy size, the big, tall one that sits like that most times at restaurants of like Crystals, which is just the basic.
I love Crystal.
But then there's like
I have the big thing of Frank's Red Hot. That's my favorite.
I use Frank's when I do like a wing sauce because I don't like Frank's by it's just a little too tangy.
I like the vinegar.
But that's why I got the Crystals. But then there's like the sriracha, and then I just found this new sriracha that carries, but it's a place, and I will talk about. Well, we've been talking about Amazon. We can talk about Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They
like
just
that
started carrying.
place.
It's I found this place 5-6 years ago. It's a place in Texas. Or it's not a place. It's a company in Texas, and they're called Yellowbird. And the reason they're called Yellowbird is because the peppers, when they grow, they're fucking hot. And if you touch the peppers or you eat the peppers, it does the same thing to everything on this planet, except for these fucking yellowbirds. They feast on these peppers and it doesn't burn them. Oh. So they named their brand after Yellowbird, so it's called Yellowbird. And when I first found them, they had one sauce, and it was a habanero sauce. And it's like this beautiful yellowish orange color. It's got like 5 ingredients. So there's vinegar, there's habanero, there's lime, there's carrots, and there's like cane sugar or something like that. It's minimal, and it's an amazing thing. Excuse me. And then
that made my mouth water.
a few years later, they came out with they came out with a green one, which was jalapeno, and then they had the red was a jalapeno, and the green was like a serrano. Now they have the organic brand, and they have this, but they have a fucking blue agave sriracha that is slap your mama good. Like,
it slaps.
It's so, and it's still got the flavor, but they took it. If you like sriracha, this above.
I do like sriracha. I put it on my ramen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't eat the ramen noodles that come in like the packaging because that's way too much salt. But I had real ramen for the first time like a month ago. Oh, it touched my grouchy little soul, and it just made me very happy on the inside.
There's a ramen place right around the corner that we like to go to. There is a pho place, the Vietnamese noodle house.
I like pho.
The pho you talking about?
I like pho when I'm hungover. It actually helps so much. That bone broth. It helps so much.
It's the broth. The broth. I think a lot of it's the same thing with the ramen. Anything that starts like that, it's that broth.
Yeah.
Everything else is whatever. Like, I sit there, if you can't sit there and like want a main line and just slam that broth when it's over with, something's missing. Mm-hmm. There's one that's close to us. It's right next to my barber. She doesn't like it so much, so I don't get to go as often as I want. But now maybe if there's two of us, because we'll go do lunch after this, maybe we'll go get one of them.
We can get some hot nudes.
Hot nudes.
Hot nudes.
I like it. So I enjoy this, but we're kind of rounding up, and I'm getting hungry because
me too.
It's lunchtime.
The tum-tums. My tummy's doing the rumblies.
So I like to kind of finish these up with like an advice segment.
Oh,
so
yeah, for
something
sure.
to where, and you can give as little or as less as you like to. But if you could give advice to any girl or boy,
okay,
any person coming in the industry, what would you say to them?
Okay, first and foremost, save your fucking money because this money is not forever. Put money into savings and do your freaking taxes. That's first and foremost, just business. Emotionally, love yourself and don't look to this industry or your fans for self-validation in any which way, shape, or form. You validate yourself, you love yourself, and don't get lost in the sauce. Don't lose yourself. Stay true to yourself, stay humble. Take everything that people say with a grain of salt, and don't let an agent tell you that you're the shit from the beginning. That shit's earned. Don't let your head get too big. And again, love yourself. Value yourself first and foremost, and put yourself above everything.
That's really good. The money seems to be a big thing with a lot of the girls that I've talked to. And it is, because you don't think that...
I didn't save shit, and it's not a good thing.
Because when you come into an industry where every penny you make is based upon your appearance, and when after a certain age, and when we say a certain age, it's not an old one, you then retire to a different position, and it's less. It's
and
shot
if you could
less.
even get into that position,
right? And that's what I tell everybody every time. And it's you come into this industry, especially, and it sucks, but it's a fact. Especially as a female, you have to have an end game. You have to be working towards something else. Because no matter how big your name is, it's only, and it's with all of us. Mm-hmm. At some point, people are going to be like, you know what? I'm tired of this fucked up old guy who tortures women all the time. Because at some point, I'm probably going to get too old to do it.
Yeah.
Or at least they're going to be like, okay, the 18-year-olds don't want to work with the 70-year-old anymore.
You'd be surprised.
I say that, but there was a guy who works for another company, or owned and started. We kind of joke that he's the one that kind of started the internet. He's not really, but we joke about it. He's the PD. He's the one who ran Insects. Mm-hmm. And he, from what I understand, he was 71 or 72 when he was still performing. And I'm not talking about just the JP. I'm talking about he was
performing.
He was pulling the cock out and working it too.
Oh, he was giving them the cockamus.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna be here until they make me leave, or I hit the lottery. I don't know. I say that, but then I after 15 years still love doing what I do. Like,
yeah.
I enjoy it.
I agree.
And the gratification comes from, one, doing a good job.
Yeah.
But two is how you feel as the opposite excuse me, performer for me, to have this sense of accomplishment because you did more than you thought you could, or to have this overwhelming, like, fuck, that guy can do more with his fingers. And I use that term only because I've had plenty of girls be like, fuck. Because don't think of the dick's disappointing. Don't even worry. It's all the magic's here. But to know that, and it's not just that, but that when I work with someone, that they walk away satisfied, not from orgasm, but satisfied with themselves because of a total experience. And it's something that sticks with them. It's because you fuck, and it doesn't happen as often being in a situation like this.
No. And
one of the most important ones that really, really kind of solidify it for me is the fans. Like, I talk to, and I don't talk, if they talk to me in a way that's approachable.
Yeah.
If they come at me like, hey, I want to get in. Hey, can you help me? All the shit that we were talking about earlier, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was actually just chatting with one last night on Twitter on instant message because I leave it open. I don't answer most of them, but I leave it open.
That's nice. And
there was one who, I'm not going to put her business out there because I think she watches the podcast, but there was a situation and I saw it because I'm horrible. I'm on my phone all the time.
Yeah.
But I saw that there was an instant mess or a DM and I checked it and I went back and forth with it a couple times, and it was knowing that doing what I do has a positive effect on anyone for any reason. Dude, that's fuck it. I'll do this for the rest of my life. Like, that's the stuff that gets me super excited because I know that I am doing something that is in turn making someone better, helping someone, showing someone a positive light. Like, to me, I'm like, fuck, I'll do this until I die. Because that's the most rewarding thing.
You, in a way, and we've spoken about this before, you're like a therapist in a way. People don't realize that BDSM, especially, it usually is a therapy session for people. It gets out all these feelings of aggression and whatever else you're feeling, and all these endorphins flood your brain, and by the time you're done, you're so happy. Like, every time I've left off of these sets, the more fucked up I look, the happier I am that day. You know, especially I'll go back home and I'll look at my rope marks and I'm just like, and it's like this feeling of, I did that. Like, I don't know, I can't describe it.
It's the sense of accomplishment. It's doing something that...
I was never a sub before Kink. I had never subbed before Kink. The first time I walked onto a Kink set, I remember I looked at Seth Gamble, poor freaking guy, and I looked at him and I go, I don't like anal and I'm not a sub, so good luck with that. And he grabbed my face and he goes, you're tough? And just slapped me, and I was like, oh, this is real. And I don't know what happened after that set. After that day, I shot for James Mogul. And after that, I love Mogul, by the way. If you're watching this, I love you.
You're a badass. He knows he's a badass.
I love him.
Him and I, a little side story. You went to the Armory, right?
I used to call it Mom's house.
Okay. So
I would get hot chocolate in the sandwiches.
On the upper floor, so sorry to interrupt you again, but on the upper floor where when you came to the top of the stairs and there was all the things, my office was down here. There was a gym right next door to our office. We actually, when I first started, my office was located in the far corner where the gym was, and we had to pick up and move our office over one room so they could have the gym set up. Mogul and I, for at least a year, maybe longer, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think it was, we're in their strength training.
That's awesome. I remember...
if you can imagine the two of us pushing each other. And let me tell you, Mogul, if you do see this motherfucker is not one you want to disappoint in the gym. Because I got to a point where I thought I was, like, plateaued, and I'm like, fuck, and he's like, you push it, you motherfucker. And I'm like, yes, sir! And like,
I could see him doing that.
But it was a cool experience, because I got to know him really well, and we watched each other grow, and he's
a badass.
He bulks up. That fucker gets big.
No, you can tell. And I don't know, there's just something about him. Like, he would get me and he would tie me up, and I was just like, okay, we're doing this. Like, he makes you feel safe, and I mean, as far as I went, I'm sure he's like this with, all the other girls, but he made me feel beautiful and safe and wanted, and everything was, are you okay? And maybe we could do this different, and I could tell which one was his favorite, which ties were his favorite, because he would always put me in the same one at the end. He'd always like chicken wing me and make me like, because I can't put my hands behind my back, and he thought that was funny, so he would tie my hands to my ankles.
Right.
But yeah, he's amazing. I love him. Mogul, I love you. And you and Seth are the reasons why I'm still here doing kink today. So.
There you go. Alrighty. I think that's it. I think we're wrapped up. I think we're done. I think it's fucking, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry as shit and I want some hot nudes.
Hot nudes. Alrighty. You were awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, guys.